has us simplifying some expressions with exponents in them. So I'm going to remind us of a few rules here in red in the top right. Don't forget that x to the n to the power of m is x to the nm. Also, don't forget that if you take a product and you raise it to a power, then you can distribute powers through products. So those are the two major rules. Of course, there's a whole set of these. If you're in my class, we did a set of 10 of these and many examples of each. But let's do this together here. So on the left, we have the number -2, the quantity b to the -3, and the quantity c squared. And all of these are being squared. So this is where I'm using the right rule, the rule on the right, where I'm distributing the squaring through each one of these powers, or each one of these pieces of the product, sorry. So then we can perform each one of these pieces of the product. -2 squared is -2 times -2, which is 4. b to the -3 to the 2 is b to the -6, according to the first rule, the one on the left in the red. And then c squared squared would be c to the 2 times 2, which is c to the 4th. So usually, for politeness sake, the last way to write this is we prefer a lot of times in final answers to not have negative exponents. So I simply take that b to the 6th power and shift it on down to the denominator to give us a final answer of 4c to the 4th, b to the 6th. Okay, let's try this again with the problem on the right then. So this time our pieces of the product are 3, a to the -2, and d to the 5, and they're all being raised to the power of -3. Okay, putting these into each one of the pieces, we would get 3 to the -3. So let's see, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, and with the negative exponent, that means this is actually the number 1 over 27. Negative exponents are reciprocals. Next we have a to the -2 to the -3, so we find the product of those exponents. That'll be a to the 6th, because -2 times -3 is 6. And then d looks like it's going to be raised to the power of 5 times -3, and that's -15. So again, as a fully final simplified answer, I might answer a to the 6th on the top, and on the bottom I'm going to keep the 27 and shift my d to the 15 down there to give that answer. So why don't you try pausing the video and seeing if you can do this problem on your own. -3x cubed y to the -2z raised to the power of -4. So assuming you tried it, let's do it together now. I got -3 to the power of -4, x cubed to the power of -4, y to the -2 to the power of -4, and a lonesome z to the power of -4. Okay, -3 to the -4 would be, let's see, -3 times -3 is 9, multiplied by -3 is -27, multiplied by -3 is positive 81. So the power is 81, but due to the negative exponent, I'm going to write this as 1 over 81. Next we have x to the power of 3 times -4, y to the power of -2 times -4, which is 8, and then z to the power of -4. 1 times -4 is -4. So our final answer here looks like the y to the 8th is going to be on the top. In the bottom we have the number 81, we have 12 copies of the x, and we have 4 copies of the z. So here's our final answer.